So I do always like to do this, and that's to stand in the middle of the home and then look at the view these people had from where they lived. And you can see it's just absolutely barren out here. This would have been really hard living, but the view these people would have had is absolutely spectacular. Hi, I'm Brian from Northwest Bronco. Welcome back to the channel. Well, I apologize if the camera's moving around a little bit. It's super windy out here today. But we're going to be spending about 2 days and 2 nights out here in the Oregon desert. Before we get into the plan for this trip, I want to thank everyone for following along with my trips last year and watching my videos. I really do appreciate all the likes and people subscribing to my channel and commenting on my content. Really appreciate all that, and I want to thank everybody. So like I said, this is going to be 2 days and 2 nights, and we're going to start here on Newt Morris Road, which kind of turns into Fox Butte Road. And down this road, I've been looking all winter long at these 2 broken down buildings on Google Satellite. I looked down on them, I saw them, I said, oh, that's the first thing I'm going to look at to kick off the overland season for 2024. So we're going to drive out there and take a look at that and see what it is. So after we get done doing a little bit of exploring out here, we're actually going to move down to Frederick Butte Road, where we're going to find a place to camp. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the Bronco, head down the road, and see if we can find those 2 broken down buildings. All right, so we just pulled over on the side of the road here because there's supposed to be a road right here leading to those 2 buildings, but that road is long gone. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and pack up a little bit here, and we're actually going to hike out and see if we can find these things. All right, as I walk out into the sagebrush here, I did come across the old road. So I'm just going to walk it and about 300 feet here and see what we can find. So you can kind of see here the leftover ruts in the road, and we're just going to head right up over that little hill there. And here's a good sign right here. Looks like we have an old can, so that's a good sign. So let's keep on heading down this road. I don't know if you guys can see or not here, but on the screen here, there's where we parked, there's where we're walking, and you can kind of see these are our 2 markers. So we're heading in the right direction. All right, so here's the road we were walking down. I look to the left here, and you can see there's some piled up rocks over here and some wood. So we're going to take a look at that first. Here's this old concrete, looks like an old waterway right here. And this almost looks like it would have been possibly a log cabin right here. So you can see the heavy timbers, some wire, and then of course a rock wall. So I think this was a log cabin. You can see all the big timbers here, and then of course where they joined together. It's a pretty good size one, really. Here's a big old piece of thick piece of metal here. I bet you this is part of the wood stove. This is kind of an interesting piece of metal right here. It's got some holes cut in here for some reason. So I do always like to do this, and that's to stand in the middle of the home and then look at the view these people had from where they lived. And you can see it's just absolutely barren out here. This would have been really hard living, but the view these people would have had is absolutely spectacular. But what we're going to do now is do a big walk a big loop around this building, just see what else we can find. And then we're going to head over and look at the next building and see what that was. Came across what looks to be an old stove right here. So this is the remnants of a building. I'm not sure what it is. This would have been, I'm guessing, some kind of a barn or storage shed. And there's the other half of the stove right there. And then right next to it right here is the root cellar. This is kind of interesting right here. That is one big old piece of metal right here. If you know what that is, Looks like a handle, like a barn door handle or something, but it's on a post. If you have any idea what that is, put it in the comments below. Well, that's about it for this site. I couldn't find the can dump. There's a chance that it's just covered by snow or it's just somewhere I can't find, but I know it's around here somewhere. I just don't know where, but getting kind of late in the day, so I think I'm going to head back to the Bronco and we're going to make our way over to Frederick Butte Road. And along the way, I do have a couple more markers, but they're just Explorer markers. They're not really telling me anything significant there, but we're going to take a look anyway, and then we're going to find a place to camp. I'll just head back to the Bronco, heading down the road here. I saw this on the side of the road and thought I'd stop and show you. It just goes to show what these people had to work with out here, you know, because this is some kind of a bucket. For some reason, they wrapped pieces of wire around the perimeter of it, and then they made a couple of holes here and a little hanging wire, and then another one up here. So I don't know, maybe they're hanging it to boil water or cook, but who knows. But I just thought it'd be interesting to stop and show it to you. All right, so we just turned onto Frederick Butte Road and we're gonna go a couple miles down here. And the spot we're gonna camp at's a place that we've camped at before. And I like it because it's nice and open and it has a really good view of a meadow and it's great for star watching. And also, the sun comes down into that camp spot in the morning, so it dries out my tent and everything. So it's gonna be about in the low 20s tonight. So it's gonna get a little bit chilly, but we'll be just fine. So I'm gonna make my way down the road here and pull into our camp spot. We'll pick up from there. All right, we just pulled into our spot. We got the Bronco all leveled out. The cool part about these Broncos is they do have the pitch and roll mode on the dash. So when you pull into a camp spot, you just switch your screen into off-road mode, specifically pitch and roll, and then you can just kind of drive around the camp spot a little bit, backing up and going forward until your vehicle is level. So we're all leveled up, so we're gonna go ahead and get out and set up camp. Now, one thing I wanted to show you guys is my rooftop tent ladder, but I wanted to show you specifically the bag that I keep it in. Now, most rooftop tents, they don't come with a bag for the ladder, but if you keep your ladder in your tent and you want to keep the inside of your tent clean, it's important that you have a bag for your ladder because, you know, when you're walking around your campsite, the rungs get all dirty and so do the bottoms of the feet here of the ladder. And that way you just brush off as much dirt as you can, put it back in the bag and throw it up there. And I'll put a link in the description where I got this. I think I can remember where I got this. So if I do, I'll put a link in there so you can pick one of these up. All right, just for fun, I'm going to show you what I threw up in the rooftop tent. The rooftop tent is completely empty. I just used the mattress that comes in the tent because it's awesome. And then I keep the ladder up there and that's it. So when I get to camp, I have a few things I throw up there depending on the temperature. But one thing I always have is this bag here, which is my rooftop tent bag. And in here is some extra fuel cans for my heater, a urinal, some sleeping booties, change of clothes, just things like that. Just some basic essentials for when I'm up there at night. The thing I have here is a 0 degree Wiggies sleeping bag. And this is a big old bag. And it's rated down to 0 degrees, and it is absolutely the warmest and the best bag I've ever had, and it's by Wiggies. And so we're gonna throw that up there. And because it's gonna be in the low 20s tonight, I went ahead and brought an electric blanket and a power supply. This is just a Dometic power supply that you can use to run a refrigerator. But I just have an electric throw. It's a 12 volt that plugs into the power supply, and this will run for 11 hours. So this will run easily all night. And it'll run tomorrow night too, because I'm going to charge the power supply while I'm driving. But because it's going to be in the low 20s, I want to have a nice warm sleeping bag. So I stick this throw in the sleeping bag and it keeps me nice and warm all night. And last but not least is the Kavia Cupid heater. And this is a little butane heater. And I keep the butane canisters in the rooftop tent bag. And it's just a little heater that I hang actually from the ceiling of the tent. And that way I can, when I go to bed and when I wake up, I have a nice warm tent. And also it helps dry out the tent in the morning. All right, when it comes to lighting in camp, I have an LED strip that just runs along the top of the window here. Yeah, it just plugs into a portable battery pack, just a little USB plug-in. And that just lights up this entire back area. The only bad thing about doing a system like that is that if you're standing right here cooking at the table, all the bugs will collect right where your head is because that's where the light's at. But, you know, it's just one of those things about being outdoors. To be able to light up my camp when I'm filming myself, then I use the Free Spirit Recreation Ready light. And this is just a freestanding light I'm going to show you that just stands like over here somewhere. And I used to use it to light me up. I don't really use it to light up camp. But it does have 4 little portable pod lights that come off. They're magnetic. They come off, and I use them to light up my rooftop tent as well. So the light has this main light here, which has a couple of settings. It's only white, but it has a high and a low setting. And then it has these 4 portable pods. And they actually have a high, low flashing setting for emergencies. And they also have an amber setting, which I like because it keeps the bugs away from camp. And these are just magnetic. So they just kind of pull right off, you know, and then this whole thing's solar. So it charges, you know, in the morning and then at night before it gets dark. And it charges all 4 of these lights. And these little pod lights, they come off, they have little hooks on the back that pop out, and then you can hang them inside of your tent. All right, well, here's a topic that'll divide a room, and that is, do you cook in camp or do you just eat freeze-dried food? Now, I get made fun of quite a bit about me eating Mountain House, and I'm fine with that because it works well for me. The reason why I don't cook in camp is because, you know, that means I have to bring a lot more water because I have to be able to clean utensils, and I don't really want to sit and do dishes because I'm lazy. So I very rarely do I cook in camp. If I do, I just have a little jet boil pan and I cook up some steak bites and things like that. But that's about as good as it gets when it comes to cooking for me. I'm not really a big fan of taking up a bunch of room in the rig for, you know, pots and pans, and things are rattling all over the place. I'm having to wash all that stuff and set it all up and tear it down. I just don't like doing it. So, and in the fridge, you might be wondering, why do I have a refrigerator then if I'm not hauling food? Well, I have a Jimmy John sandwich in there that I picked up in Bend on the way out. And I have 3 of these water jugs I just keep refilling my little thermos with. So mainly this is just so I can have some cold water. So you might be wondering, well, if I don't cook in camp, then how do I eat? Well, I have this golf shoe bag right here. This has 2 days worth of food in it. And it's all freeze-dried food and MREs because, you know what, if it's good enough for astronauts and it's good enough for the military members, it's good enough for this guy. All right, I'm not going to hide it. You know, I'm just going to show you. I do buy usually 1 or 2 Jimmy John sandwiches, and then I throw them in the refrigerator. And then now and then when I just feel like eating actual food, I'll just break one of these open and eat like half at a time. So I do keep a little extra something. So tonight I'm just going to do a chicken and dumplings. This is actually one of my favorites. If you've never had a freeze-dried food before, I would start with this one for dinner because it's really, really good. You can see what it looks like here when it's dry. And all you do is boil some water, put the water in, zip it shut, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and you have yourself a nice chicken and dumplings dinner. And there you go. This is a nice, warm chicken and dumplings dinner. And of course, I like to jazz it up a little bit. I always have these little packs of instant coffee, liquid IV, Frank's hot sauce. So I always dump a packet of Frank's in here just to give it a little zip. And of course, I always add a little bit of pepper. All right, I'm just going to enjoy my dinner here and look at the view. And then when it starts getting dark, do a little bit of star watching. And then I'll catch up with you guys when we climb up into the rooftop tent. All right, everybody, it's starting to get dark out and I'm getting pretty tired. We had a pretty fun day. We got to find that log cabin homestead and had ourselves a nice warm dinner. Yeah, got the heater going, the electric blanket in the sleeping bag here. So it should be a nice warm night. It's supposed to be about low 20s tonight and a little bit windy, but we'll see how it goes in the morning. But tomorrow we're going to go see if we can find some more homesteads. So I will see you guys in the morning for breakfast. All right, so I'm actually standing right in the middle of the homestead right now. So you have the root cellar that was over there towards the road, the main house here. All right, so this is what I've been looking at for quite a while on the map, and it's kind of, it's just these two walls that run straight out into the desert, but I'm gonna have to say that's an old stove right there.